Howdy folks, I'm a beautiful blue jay, blissfully bounding towards bountiful berries.
I'm Amber.
And here are more berries for us to bound towards. We're just going to hop, skip, and jump our way to blueberries. I'm guessing blueberries, because that would also be a bee. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Insulting My Father-in-Law After He Pressured Us into Getting a Paternity Test? In my husband's family, you inherit from your grandparents. My husband's father got it into his head that our son was the product of me having an affair. He said that he would not set aside money for him unless we got a paternity test. My husband told his father to go away, and we cut him off. It's been a couple of years now, and he wants back into our lives, but he still wanted a paternity test. My husband and I talked about it, and we agreed under the condition that when it turned out that my husband was the father, the money for our son would be in an irrevocable trust for his future, even though obviously his grandfather had not passed away. He agreed, and we did the test sort of like 23andMe, but more reputable and private. It just so happens that my son is indeed my husband's child, but he is not related to a bunch of his paternal relatives. My husband's mom is a saint, and she divorced her ex a long time ago. He immediately started insulting her for cheating, since obviously the test showed that my husband was illegitimate. 2 tests later, the results are back, and my father-in-law is definitely my husband's father. My father-in-law is, however, not the offspring of the man he always thought was his dad. We had a legally binding contract, so my son had his inheritance waiting for him when he turns 25. We saw my father-in-law over the holidays, and he was complaining about how he had to liquefy some of his assets to set up a trust fund. I said that if he had just accepted his grandson, and hadn't been such a bastard about it, then we would all been happier. He got very quiet and very angry, and he said that I was being very rude to insult him like that. And I said that he had been rude to insinuate that I was cheating on my husband, and that technically he was indeed a bastard. He is furious with me and mad at my husband for letting me talk about him that way. My husband told him that he had brought this all upon himself, and that if he wants to be in our lives, that he will treat us all with respect. He followed up that since we have the money now, there's nothing that he can hold over us if we choose to kick him back. We are hearing a lot from our relatives of my husband. Some good, some bad. Overall, they think that I need to be more polite, but they agreed that he did this to himself. Alright folks, what do you think of this one?
Not the jerk. Well, I generally don't think name calling is the best way to go. I mean, it is kind of funny here that the irony of all of this situation. Like, it's not cool to accuse someone of cheating, and that insinuation right there. I can understand why OP and her husband would be so upset by it. And for him to, basically hold this over your heads, I'm not going to do anything for your kid until I have proof that he's my son's.
Well, and I mean, again, I wonder how he feels about his father at this point in time. Does he feel that his father wasn't his father? Clearly not, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes family is more than the blood relation, and that's really what it boils down to. And sure, it's not good when you cheat on your spouse, and I'm not condoning it, and I'm not saying that it's right, but he should also not throw stones if he isn't 100% positive that he isn't the legitimate child of his father or something like that, right?
Well, and that's the thing, is this isn't his business. This is between OP and her husband, and as long as the two of them are happy, then that's what matters. They trust each other. It's up to them whether or not they want to do a paternity test. It's not up to him, and he just needs to let his son run his own life.
Yeah, and I'm actually really glad that they did this, because it sounds like they were able to put that money into a trust where now he can't take it back, he can't hold it over their heads, and he can't manipulate them. So he has to have a genuine, honest relationship with them instead of trying to be manipulative. So I think that's actually a good call, a good place to be. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Unusual Archer 916 says, everyone's in the wrong. Do you know what an NPE is? It stands for Not Parent Expected. While your father-in-law was definitely in the wrong for his demands of a paternity test, finding out one's father was not really your father is a mind-shattering experience. I know this because I have experienced it. So in my mind, although you had reason to be angry with him, calling him illegitimate under these circumstances is cruel. And OP replies, fair. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for calling my wife selfish for leaving our son with a sitter? I'm away from home a lot of the time due to work commitments, which is tough because I don't have as much time as I would like to spend with my family. And although I try to talk with them as much as possible, when I'm away, communication is limited. Recently, I found out that my wife has been hiring a sitter occasionally for our son, 7, when I'm away, so that she can go out to dinner with friends. It came to a surprise to me because we usually plan these things together when I'm at home. I appreciate the efforts that she puts into taking care of our son while I'm gone, but I work long hours during my trips, and learning about the sitter arrangement left me feeling pretty annoyed with her. I asked her why she had never told me about this before, and she said that it just never came up because we only talk in short spurts, and she said that she didn't think that it would be an issue because we usually get a sitter for a night when I come home. I told her that it isn't right that she's wasting money selfishly because she gets breaks during the day and after our son goes to bed. And it's wrong to leave him when I have to work 24/7 on business trips. I told her that I didn't want her to do it again, but she got upset because she didn't think that this was fair. Alright folks, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Opie's being a major jerk here. It sounds like his wife is doing all the household responsibilities, basically solo parenting a lot of the time. And he's like, well, you get breaks when the kid is in bed. Like, I know he's away on business trips, but I'm sure he's not working literally from sun up to sundown. And so I just think it's very hypocritical of him, and he's completely undervaluing his wife's efforts.
Yeah, well then also, yeah, I know he's saying that he's working 24/7, but then when he comes home, how much is he working and how much time does he get off when he comes home, right? So I understand a little bit of the resentment, right? While you're working, somebody else is not working, right? But this is a choice that he's kind of made. This is a line of work he went into. And people do deserve breaks, and I think that his wife deserves to have a night out on the town every once in a while as well, right? And I guess to me, it also depends on the finances. Like, if this is something where they're getting by paycheck to paycheck, and, the money for a sitter is basically a decision between eating a meal and not, then maybe taking a night out isn't the best idea, but that doesn't really sound like what the situation is here.
No, and it just reeks of OP valuing his time and his efforts more than his wife's.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just seems like he doesn't understand how much goes into raising a child.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of concerning too, this whole, because it basically seems to be insinuating she can't have a social life unless he's there to share it with her.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is kind of isolating too on top of that.
Yeah, that actually is a really good point. Like, she should be able to have her own social life, whether he's there or not. It's healthy for adults to have social lives. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And alternative end 5079 says, you're the jerk. She doesn't get to go out while you're away? And Cheese Making Mom says she probably doesn't get any alone time when he's home from these important business trips either, because he deserves to rest and relax without having to worry about the pesky kid. And OP replies, I spend all of my time with them when I'm home. But that doesn't say anything about the chore distribution when they're home.
Yeah. Well, and we also can't trust his all the time because he also is apparently working all the time, 24/7 on his business trips. He doesn't sleep.
Well, and then on top of that, right, is he says that he spends all of his time with them, but he's also getting breaks with his wife when they go out to dinners, right? And Gurglebox says, you literally said in your post that you usually get a sitter for a night when you come home. Also, is she home to share parenting responsibilities when you are? Because you sure aren't there to share that responsibility when you are away at work. And OP replies, my wife and I get a sitter for a night so that we can do something nice together. The rest of the time I'm home is spent with both of them. An intro-vetted millennial says, so you have never looked after your own son on your own? And OP replies, I have, just not very often. Alright folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a jovial Amstein joke.
What's a snake's favorite subject?
Well, you might think that a snake's favorite subject would be something like art where they get to like crawl around on the page and, draw stuff. But I actually have it on good authority that a snake's very favorite course is calculus, and the reason why is because integrals look a lot like snakes.
I mean, that makes sense. Also, there are adders, which are snakes, but the answer is history.
Oh, history? That makes a lot of sense.
And we got a picture today.
And Amber wanted to show the picture. And I have licorice spice. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday! It's the weekend, folks. Congratulations. We made it. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please, have it in the form of an adage.
Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
That's a good adage. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.